share conversations with me, Unotando Debe. Thank you for joining me once again. Today we are moving on to talking content marketing for personal brands. Now, what do I mean by that? Basically, today I'm talking to everyone who either runs a business, who is a professional, or someone who just wants to stand out in a specific niche or industry, and just be and just engage with your audience, teaching them, driving insights, or just inspiring them to do better and grow better. So let's jump into today's video. So personal branding has a lot to do with just wanting to grow within the career that you might be in, growing your business. Personal branding actually helps a lot if you are going to link it to growing your business, because sometimes people buy into people. So that's what you need to remember. So the points that I'm going to share with you today is basically how can you navigate social media, create content that will be able to allow people to engage with you and be able to grow a community, allowing you to also just be a professional and a thought leader in the industry that you are specifically in. So my first point as we start is that you need to be creating original content that will also allow you to just have authority within the niche or industry that you might be focusing on, right? Now, how do you do that? So for me, I always say that if you want to create content, maybe just start a platform that is informative. You could either name it after yourself, or it could be named something else, and then you creating content around the platform. Now, that could be anything. You could be talking about being a mom, you could be talking about accounting, just whatever profession that you are in. Look into that and see how you can be creating content around it to be able to stand out and engage with your audience. That's the first thing. Now, if you're not creating an informative platform, then you can also look into writing a blog, which is also an informative platform, obviously. You can also look into starting a YouTube channel. You can also look into starting a podcast. For me, that is the easiest way of doing it. If you don't want to create those platforms, then obviously using social media is also a great way. You just create your online page, maybe on Facebook or on Instagram or on Twitter, and then drive your content around those platforms. So when you create these platforms, make sure that you are creating content that will obviously drive engagement and show you off as an expert in whatever topic you would be covering each and every week when you release your content pieces on the social media platforms. If you're not doing that, then obviously people will not understand who you are, what you are doing, and what you are about. And if I'm interested in whatever topic you might be talking about, I will obviously subscribe and follow, ask questions, because you are now saying you are a professional in whatever topic you are talking about, and then I'll come to you whenever I need to learn something. So make sure that your content is informative and unique at the same time. So my second point here is that you need to make sure that you are communicating from a place of honesty and authority. Now, when it comes to personal branding, right, you cannot lie about who you are. Unfortunately, you need to tell us exactly who you are, your qualifications, your history, basically in your professional history and expertise. You need to tell us all of those things. And for me, what I've also found when it comes to building a personal brand is that when you tell people your struggles, when you tell people your wins, when you tell people your strategies that you have used in order to get where you are at that moment, that is what people are obviously going to engage with more. And you are being honest when you fail, you are being honest when you make mistakes, and that makes you human, and also allows people who are coming after you, who are probably in the same industry that you are in, or they want to start businesses just like you, to feel seen and understand, okay, everyone goes through what they might be going through at that moment. You guys know how tough it is to relate to someone who comes and shares a story about all their accolades and all their wins that they've done over the years, but they never actually talk about how they got there. They never talk about the mistakes that they might have made. They never talk about how they might have failed once or twice. All they're talking about is all their money and all their wins, and it's like, okay, I can't relate to this person because for me, I'm still starting out and I'm still making certain mistakes. So you end up just not being interested in that type of person. So make sure you are communicating from a place of just being honest with people, and that will obviously drive authority as well, because you are telling people the truth, you are telling people your mistakes and how you are able to overcome those mistakes, and how when you failed, you are also able to overcome your failures. Okay, so this basically moves us to my next point, which is that your content needs to be relevant, valuable, and obviously educational. So there's no point in opening a personal brand account on social media just to look pretty, just to show people like your meetings, looking pretty at your meetings, just to show people you looking pretty at like the functions that you attend. Yes, that is something that you can do, obviously, to drive the authority and that you are part of certain things that are quite big. But if you're not educating me and all I see is just you looking pretty, then I'm not going to be interested. So if I'm following you, I want to obviously learn something from you. I want to see your journey. I want to hear stories that are true and educational, just as I mentioned in my last point. So make sure if you are discussing your mistakes, if you are discussing your bad day, that day when you talk about, when you post a picture or you make an update, make sure you tell people how you've overcome all of those problems. Make sure you are educating them and say, okay, guys, there's someone who made a mistake today when they greeted me and they went on and on and on, they didn't even ask my name. Don't do that, you know? Like all of those things is stuff that you need to be teaching everyone who might be following you because they want to learn from you. And it's also very important when it comes to your personal brand that you're not just selling, right? With personal branding, you're not selling your business. That's not what you are doing. So just remember that is that when you are creating your personal brand, you are just driving a bit more authority. And obviously when you are doing that and you gain that engagement and you gain that community, then people automatically want to work with you, but at the same time you would have never ever sold anything to them, you know. So that is the one thing to remember when it comes to personal branding. And it will also help you when it comes to creating your content, that okay, whenever I'm creating content for my personal brand, it must not be about selling, because that's not what you're doing. Selling will happen on your business accounts, and that is like a whole different obviously strategy and marketing plan. But with your personal brand, it's also just specific to who you are and what you do, and obviously educating people in order for you to gain that authority. Now, my fourth point is one that I always obviously preach about, is to be consistent. Without consistency, guys, again, you're not going to get very far. You need to remember that when you start putting out content the way that you might be putting it out, especially if you're going to create an educational platform, whether it's your podcast or YouTube channel, all of those things need to be consistent. So the content you are putting out needs to be consistent, because you don't want to be opening a podcast and then you just launch with one interview with someone, or you posting one podcast every other 3 months. You don't want to do that. And I know podcasts, you probably have to release one each and every week just to be consistent and drive the growth and engagement. So just remember to be consistent when it comes to creating content. Post on an occasion when you are on Instagram and Facebook. Maybe even look into doing regular live videos, maybe once a week, just to engage with your audience, because when it comes to personal branding, people want you and they don't want anything else. They just want to see you, they want to engage with you, they want to have time where they ask you questions and you respond, and that is the best way of doing it. Okay, so moving on to my last point is that do not be afraid to invest in growing your personal brand. What do I mean by this? So don't be scared to just get someone to do a professional website for you. Don't be scared to get someone to do professional pictures for you. So the content that you are putting out is good quality that will allow people to actually be interested in what you are doing. So if you have speaking engagements every now and again, then look into taking a photographer with you to be able to take pictures. Because then again, you are able to use those professional images to build your profile, to build your website. So when other brands who would like to invite you to come speak at their events get professional images. So do not be afraid to do that. Pay if you can, and obviously if you can't, but still try and find a way around it. And pictures are a great way because you don't even have to take them all the time. You just have to have them done once, and then you can use those up until you then decide, okay, maybe in a year or two, let me upgrade them. But if you are being paid when they ask you for professional images, so don't be afraid to do that. So in closing, I hope these points have helped you when it comes to building your personal brand. If you have any questions, I am more than happy to engage with you. Just leave them down below. Don't forget to subscribe, and you can find me on my social media platforms at NoTimeWithDende. Like this video if it was quite helpful to you. Until next time, bye.